trying to explain the Viking Age in 5 minutes. So, the Viking Age started in 793 AD with the raid of Lindisfarne. Now, these men were originally described as traders. There were stories before 793, before they became famous for who they are, as traders in England and in a little bit of northwestern Europe. Until 793, they were mostly calm and relatively reasonable people. But until after 793 AD, after the raid of Lindisfarne, they were seen as not so much calm and reasonable people. So the raid of Lindisfarne happens, and this made shockwaves around Europe, everywhere. It goes from the end of Spain, where the Muslims reigned, to Constantinople, which is modern day Istanbul in Turkey. So we head over to 800, where now the Vikings, which the word Vikings actually came from the Germans, I think, in the 15th century, but they're actually originally called the Norsemen because they came from the north, so they called them Northmen, but Norsemen as we know them now. So the Vikings or Norsemen would be raiding England, and they'll be raiding England a lot. England, Scotland, and Ireland, so the British Isles. And during this time, they would actually settle down in England, where in 823, I think, I hope I'm getting my history right, in 823, where they established Danelaw. And now Danelaw was something that was agreed upon by English kings and Norwegian warlords, where Anglo-Saxon people and the Norsemen or Viking people would live in a bit of symbiotic relationship with each other, where they would live with each other, they would intermarry and have kids together, live peacefully together. And it wasn't until the late 800s where the great heathen army would raid England and raid England for good. Damn it, failed already, but we move on anyway, because this is really interesting. I like Viking history. If you've never heard of the Great Heathen Army, watch Vikings, because that show will give you a big indicator of who the Vikings were. Not that accurate, but it's a good show if you want to learn about Vikings and their history. But the Great Heathen Army comes along. It's said that they mustered up about 30,000 troops, or 30,000 men, which can be debatable. But they raided England. They killed the king of Northumbria. They blood eagled him. The king was King Aela of Northumbria. They blood eagled him, and they raided the kingdom of East Anglia, and they settled there. They settled in Northumbria and reclaimed or reestablished the Danelaw, which the Anglo-Saxons kicked out before the Great Heathen Army came, and then they reestablished it again when they mustered up the Great Heathen Army. So Alfred the Great comes along, and he realizes that this is a really bad situation, that the Vikings have to go. So Alfred reclaims his aura by kicking out the Vikings in a great battle in 895. I hope I'm getting this right, in 895. So he kicks them out, and King Alfred, who then reestablishes and gets all the titles and all the land in England, becoming the first king of England. So in 911, 911, Rollo, he's said to be from Norway. He establishes a Norse territory in the north of France, which is where we get Normandy. So he becomes the first Duke of Normandy, and it's said that Queen Elizabeth is actually related to Rollo on that line. So that happens in 911. We have the Varnagans, which are the Vikings in Constantinople, and we get to 1096 or 1066, which is the end of the Viking era, with King Harald Hardrada, when he lost the Battle of Stamford Bridge against King Harold of England, who succeeded King Edward the Confessor. So yeah, the Viking Age in 5 minutes, hopefully. Thank you.